Hello everyone, a very good afternoon. I hope you are doing well. Welcome back to another interesting and informative session of The Analyst by Vajiram and Ravi. Today, we will be discussing some important topics that has appeared in today's The Hindu and The Indian Express newspapers that are very relevant for your exam. The first topic is related to an important topic related to land reforms, and the topic is land titling. Then we will be moving towards our next topic, that is revamping the exam structure, particularly the competitive exam structure. Then our next topic will be related to phenomena of heat waves and its relation with climate change. Then we will be moving towards next topic, that is contempt of court, and our fifth topic will be an important topic related to space technology, that is NISAR spacecraft. And at the end we will be looking into some prelims snippets that will help you in excelling in upcoming prelims exam. So stay tuned. So our first topic is land titling. The context of this particular topic is that recently the Land Titling Act has become an important poll issue in recent Lok Sabha elections, particularly in states like Andhra Pradesh and others. This particular topic pertains to syllabus of your UPSC prelims, that is Indian economy, and syllabus of your GS3, that is land reforms. So what does land titling means? It means providing ownership titles to the actual owners of that land. So for example, this is a piece of land which is being owned by a particular person A at this point of time. He had gained the ownership of this particular parcel of land by illegal possession or by forging the documents. Apart from this, let's suppose he have done other thing, that he have sold this particular land to any other person B. Now it will be presumed that the person who was having the illegal possession of that particular land was the actual owner of that particular land. So here is what does it mean by the presumptive land titling? Means it is generally presumed that the person who is having the possession of that particular land is the actual owner of that particular land. But when we move towards the conclusive land titling, this particular ownership title is being granted by the government after the due verification, after the due background check. But in this particular presumptive land titling, it is based on only on the possession and the past transactions, that is related to the registrations and others. Apart from this, the government role is only limited in this presumptive land titling, and the role is only related to the registration of transactions. Whereas under this conclusive land titling, the government do proper verification, and this particular ownership is guaranteed by the government. The burden of proof is on the contesting party. If this particular B person is now the victim of forgery, he will have to bear the burden of that forgery. But here, if there was a conclusive land titling on this particular parcel of land which was being owned by person A, now the burden of that proof will lie on the government. That government will be potentially liable for any forgery that has been done. In some cases, government may have to provide some compensation to this particular victim. Then the accuracy of records in presumptive land titling is sometimes inaccurate due to historical and bureaucratic reasons. There may be a possibility where this particular person A, who was having this illegal possession and forgery, he may have colluded with any particular bureaucratic person or some corrupt officers. So there is high chances of inaccuracy in this presumptive land titling, because the ownership is not lying, for the burden of proof is not being lied with the government. But in case of conclusive land titling, there is focus on accuracy, reliability through the proper verification and background checks, that who is the actual owner of that particular parcel of land. What is the impact this particular presumptive land titling do? It leads to lengthy and expensive legal disputes regarding the ownership. As per a study of World Bank that they have conducted in 2007, almost 2/3 of the litigations that are pending in courts of today that are related to the land related issues. So this presumptive land titling leads to lot of litigation in the courts. Apart from this, when we move towards the conclusive land titling, it leads to streamlined dispute resolution, because the disputes is already settled about who is the actual ownership. There is proper background check, so the issues like forgery, illegal possessions are already catered. So this lead to a low or streamlined dispute resolution. And then it also leads to reduced litigation and increased security for the landowners. This particular person who have bought this parcel of land that was being owned by A, no one can come and say this is your illegal possession or this you have attained with the forgery, because this particular person B have bought this particular piece of land by conclusive land titling, where government has provided a guarantee that this particular person A was the actual owner of this particular land. So the basic difference that you have to understand from this, in presumptive land titling, government do not guarantee who is the actual owner, but in the conclusive land titling, the ownership of that particular land, that actual land belongs to whom, is being guaranteed by the government. Now, let's understand some background of this particular land titling, from where this came. After the independence, land reforms 1.0 was conducted, which consisted of abolition of zamindari, tenancy reforms, land consolidation, among others. Now, we are moving towards land reforms 2.0, where we are talking about the land titling. In 1989, there was a committee named DC Wadhwa Committee that presented a report titled Guaranteeing the Title to the Land, where they have emphasized that government should be moving towards the conclusive land titling from presumptive land titling to reduce the litigations, to reduce the issues that are arised regarding the land titling. Then in 2011, there was a draft model land titling bill was introduced. And why this model land titling bill was introduced? Because land is a state subject. So generally, central government do not have rights to make laws on the subjects that are in the state lists, but in some circumstances they can make, but generally they don't have the right. So after this draft land titling bill came, only Rajasthan and Maharashtra enacted the law and took few steps. Most of the states didn't do anything regarding this conclusive land titling. In 2020, Niti Aayog released the model bill on conclusive land titling, and they said that please provide the feedback on this model conclusive land titling, whatever the suggestions you have. But most of the states didn't provide the proper feedback to the Niti Aayog. They said, the Niti Aayog said that if in the due time you will not be providing your feedback, we will consider it as passed from your side. So the framework that they will be providing, that this will help in ensuring a unified legal framework throughout the country. And this particular framework will also propose that states move from presumptive to conclusive system. The digital land record modernization program, or these are the schemes which were already in place, that will also facilitate the switch from the presumptive to conclusive land titling. These are the some benefits that conclusive land titling will be giving, that we will be looking into the later part of this session. Let's first try to understand what this model bill was. Under this model bill, there will be land authorities in each state, which will be responsible to appoint the title registration officers. These TRO, or the title registration officers, will prepare and publish a draft list of land titles that are as present. Means they will prepare a draft list which will consist of the people's name having the present ownership. Then there will be potential claimants, because there is lot of litigation going on. So these people who are the potential claimants, they will file their claims and objections on the draft list that was prepared by this TRO. Then this TRO will verify all the relevant documents that has been submitted by the potential claimants, and they will this TRO will refer the case to the land dispute resolution officer, where this LDRO will try to resolve that particular matter, try to find who is the actual potential claimant of that particular land title. Then after this dispute resolution, by this land dispute resolution officer, the land authority will publish the actual record of titles. Then there will be still some litigation that will be going on. Everyone will not accept the decision of this dispute resolution officer. So this decision of TRO and LDRO can be challenged before a tribunal, that is Land Titling Appellate Tribunal, within the 3 years of the publishing of this final record of titles. After that, after this period of 3 years will complete, this record of titles that was published by this dispute resolution officer, that will be a conclusive proof of ownership. Now this particular person A or B can say that I am the conclusive land title holder of this particular parcel of land. However, there are some still safeguards provided to the people, that after the period of 3 years, there can be appeal that can be filed with the High Court of that particular state if there is some issue still pending regarding that parcel of land or ownership of land. So now we will be looking into the importance of conclusive land titling. The first is reduced land related litigation. As I have already told you that there was a World Bank study which was conducted in 2007, which said that almost 2/3 of litigation that are pending in courts of the India, that relates to the land related issues. So with the coming of conclusive land titling, the land related litigation will be reduced. It will also lead to increased investment in many sectors like real estate sector. At this point of time, many of the potential customers avoid investing in these sector because of the apprehensions of the presumptive land titling. They have a apprehension that who is the actual owners. So after coming of the conclusive land titling, when they will not have a fear and apprehension about the litigation, etc., so they will be investing in these sectors. So the coming of the investment will lead to more of productivity, more of efficiencies in these sector, that will create more jobs and ultimately leads to more economic growth. Then this particular conclusive land titling will also lead to improved revenue for the local bodies. At this point of time, the urban local bodies collect the property tax from the people that are situated in the jurisdiction of that urban local bodies. But the property tax that they are taking is very minuscule or very low. The one of the reason is that they don't know who is the actual owner of that property is. Someone else is residing in that property and actual owner is someone else, and there is litigation going on between 3-4 people about this property. So this urban local body cannot collect the property tax for this particular property. So when that conclusive land title will be coming, this particular ULB or urban local body will be knowing that who is the actual owner of this particular property is. So they can collect the property tax properly, and that will enhance the revenue of that urban local bodies, and that they can use for providing various services like health services, sanitation services to the people residing in those urban local bodies. Then this conclusive land titling will also provide better security to the farmers. They will be able to access the formal credits from the banks. They will be able to access the benefits of schemes like Kisan Credit Card. Apart from this, the private investment can also be done properly, like the contract farming can be properly done after the conclusive land titles are provided to the farmers, because at this point of time many of the private investors who want to do the contract farming, they have apprehension who is the actual title land owner of that particular piece of land. So this conclusive land titling will also help in getting investment in the agriculture sector. Then it will also benefit in reducing the benami transactions where lot of black money is used. So this will also leads to more of the formalization of economy. Many of the money that are at present circulating between the benami transactions, real estate sector by using of black money, that will be reduced with the coming of conclusive land titling. But what are the issues in the implementation of this particular conclusive land titling framework? The issue is, first is, the land is being a state subject. The land records that are at present are in different languages. They are not modernized. So it becomes very difficult to ensure to properly track the ownership from one person to another person in particular state. So until and unless this land will be in the state subject, it will be very difficult to uniformly make a conclusive land title framework. So this is one of the major issue. Then no updation of land records for the decades, especially in the rural and semi-urban areas. Most of the land records are in the files or the papers, and there is no updation after the death of the owners. That has not been inherited to their sons or the daughters. So this lack of updation of the land records at regular interval is one of the major issue in implementation of the conclusive land titling. Then the majority land records at this point of time is in the name of grandparents of the current owners, and the current owners do not have a proper proof of inheritance that they are inheriting this particular land or this particular property from one of their grandparents. So this also creates an issue that how this conclusive land title will be provided to the current owners. Then the cases of forgery, frauds, then misconducts, then collusion of various officers with the land mafia, etc. also creates the issue of providing proper conclusive land titles, and it creates overburdening of the judicial mechanism. Apart from this, the higher pendency of cases that are lying at present, that until and unless that will be resolved, it will be very difficult to provide a conclusive land title to any of the parcel of land for which the litigation is already there in place in some or other courts. So what are the suggestive reforms? What are the reforms that we should be doing? First is, there was a committee on state agrarian relation in 2007. That committee said that there is need for cooperation and collaboration. With whom? With the central government, state government, and particularly the village level survey should be done with the community involvement, where all the people of that particular Gram Sabha will be with cooperation and collaboration deciding who is the actual owner of that particular parcel of land, and that will help in deciding the conclusive land titling. Then there is need for providing skill training to local government employees like Lekpals, revenue secretary, etc., because they are the ultimate people who will be one of the major legs of implementation of this conclusive land titling. So they should be properly guided, they should be properly trained about the skills that are required for this particular conclusive land titling. Then there is need for consensus building among the central government, state government, and various stakeholders like civil society organizations, the village people, and others. Then there can be a comprehensive law that can be made for uniform conclusive land titles across the center and the states. Now this is a particular practice question that I want to give you from this particular topic. How can a robust land titling system contribute to the overall economic and social development in India? Now moving towards our second topic, that is revamping the exam structure. This particular topic pertains to syllabus of your GS2 issues relating to the development and management of education. The context of this particular topic is that recently a write-up has appeared that is emphasizing on the revamping of the competitive exam structure, particularly exams like JEE and NEET. So first, let's try to understand what are the concerns regarding the current exam structure. The first is, there are high stakes involved and very limited seats. In JEE Main 2023, almost 16 lakhs people applied and almost 12 lakhs people appeared in the exam. And they are aspiring for 2.5 lakh seats. Means the success that they will be getting is very low, is very minuscule. and these seats are majorly in NITs, IITs and some other colleges. So when this success rate is so low, this will create issues like anxiety, depression among the students, and at extreme cases, unfortunately, issues like student suicides are also there. As per the data of NCRB, we can see there has been persistent increase in the number of suicides that are being committed by various students from year on year basis. There has been increase from 2017 to 2021, which is an alarming situation for us, for the governments and for the students also, that why are they taking lives for this particular exam where stakes were already very low, where there were already very limited seats. Some of the states where high number of suicides were reported are the Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh and Tamil Nadu among others. Next concern regarding the current exam structure is failure of school system. As per this report of ASER 2023, in rural India, only 42.5% of students in class 5 could read and comprehend a class 2 subject. The issues with the school systems are multiple. For example, there is lack of proper infrastructure in the form of labs. There is lot of teacher vacancies. Teachers at present are not well versed with the modern methods of the teaching. So when these school systems are failing collectively, it leads to students not getting well versed with the topics, with the subjects that are required for these competitive exams, and that leads to the mushrooming of the coaching industry also. So coachings are doing the works that are being done, that should be done by the school systems. Then there is focus on the rote learning and short-term memorizations. For example, there is a concept called Bernoulli's theorem, concept called theory of relativity. If there is no teachers to teach this particular topics, to explain these topics, if there are no proper labs to explain these topics, if teachers are not explaining these topics with proper examples, students will be mugging up these topics. They will be focusing on the rote learning only because they want to clear this particular competitive exam named JEE and NEET anyhow. So this creates a disenchantment between the what is being supplied by the education system and what is the demand of the industry, because industry demands the application based learning. As per a 2023 survey by Team Lease Services, 42% of Indian employers who are graduates, they do not have a proper skills even after the graduations. So that creates a disenchantment between the demands of the industry and what is being provided by the education system. Then there is limited assessment of skills and aptitude at present by these exams like JEE and NEETs. They are majorly asking questions about those subjects, about the NCERTs and other subjects. There is no focus on the assessments of the general aptitude which may be required for them in the employment in future. Then this notion that this single exam will be determining the future. Just think about one example. If the parents of Virat Kohli would have compelled him to appear for the JEE and NEET exam, would he be able to become the India's famous cricketer and most successful cricketer? He wouldn't have been. So it is very important to understand that this particular single exam will not be determining your future. You may be failing in one exam at one point of time because you were not well versed with those subjects that were required for that particular exam in that particular point of time. But there is something very beautiful, very successful waiting for you in future. So what should be done? What are the suggestions? What are the suggestive reforms? First is revamping school system. There is need for proper infrastructure building. There is need for proper teachers training program. Teachers should be well versed with the modern pedagogy. Then there is need for diversified assessments. These students who are appearing for the JEE and NEET exam, they should not be only assessed for these major 3-4 subjects, but there should be an aptitude test to overall assess the personality of those students. Then there is need for addressing the disparity and focus on equity. There is lot of socio-economic disparity between rural and urban India's education system. There are a lot of poor students who cannot afford the coachings that are required for these exams, for the preparation of these exams. So government may come with some of the schemes that can be providing the coachings for these students who are not very well versed financially. For example, recently UP government is running one successful scheme named Abhyuday, who is providing the competitive exams coaching to these students who are financially not very well versed. Then there is need for identifying true potential. Who will identify this true potential? This true potential will be identified by the schools, before that by the parents. That these people, the schools, teachers, the parents should understand that this is not only the exam of JEE and NEET which will give them honor in the society, which will give a very successful life to those students, but in true sense, when that particular student will be given the freedom to follow his or her passion, that can be related to any artistic subject or related to any of the games, he will be very successful and happy when he will be truly following his or her true passion. Then there is need for encouraging innovation and diverse pathways. It is important to understand by the parents, by the students and society at large that these JEE and NEET are not the only fields that are at present. There are a lot of other pathways that can be followed by the students, that can be related to any of the artistic framework, or that can be related to any of the games like cricket, football, etc. So it is not the only these two exams that will be ultimately deciding the future success and happiness of those students, but it is in true sense, when that particular student will be following his or her passion, he will be happy, he will be successful and he will be satisfied in his or her life. Now moving towards our next topic, that is heat waves and climate change. The context of this particular topic is that a new study that has attributed heat waves are witnessing in India due to the climate change. This particular topic pertains to syllabus of your UPSC Prelims Indian Geography and syllabus of your GS1 important geophysical phenomena. So first let's try to understand what that particular write-up was saying. That particular write-up is saying that the heat waves are on rise. A new study by World Weather Attribution is saying that heat waves in early summer are linked to the climate change. So what does this attribution science says? It says that this one particular phenomena is linked to this particular second phenomena. Means this particular heat wave phenomena is being linked to the phenomena of climate change. So this new field of attribution science helps in determining if climate change is influencing the specific weather events like of heat waves. Traditionally, the scientists were avoiding linking the individual events relating to the climate change due to the global nature of climate change that was happening. But now they are linking through this attribution science. From this particular map, you can see that there are multiple states who are battling the heat waves. Northwest India, the central India and some parts of the eastern India also is battling with the heat waves, which is on rise since last few years. So what are heat waves? Let's try to understand what are heat waves. They are the phenomena of abnormally high temperature compared to the average location's temperatures. For example, if the temperature is above and over 40 degrees Celsius in the plains and it is if over and above 30 degrees Celsius in the hills, that will be a condition of heat waves. Apart from this, if there is more than 4 to 5 degrees Celsius deviation from the normal temperatures and it is over 40 degrees Celsius it will be considered as a cases of heat waves. Whereas if this deviation over and above the 40 degrees Celsius and if this deviation is more than 6 degrees Celsius, these will be the conditions of the severe heat waves. Apart from this, if the temperature is at or below the 40 degree Celsius and if the deviation is from normal 5 to 6 degree Celsius, that will be a condition of heat waves, whereas if deviation is above or over the 7 degree Celsius, that will be a case of severe heat waves. Heat waves are majorly common in summer, and more there is increased cases of heat waves because of the climate change, and cases of heat waves are becoming more frequent due to the climate change related effects. So let's try to understand what are the recent heat wave trends in India. There are almost 25 heat wave days in the Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, which emphasizes on the point that almost whole month was battling with the cases of heat waves in year 2022. If we are coming to recent years, in February 2023, the temperatures was exceeding normal by at least 5 to 11 degrees Celsius in most parts of the India. Apart from this, 2022 was India's second hottest February on record, and this particular entire year was ranked the second warmest year ever. Then this 2024 heat waves outlook predicted that there is longer durations, that is more than 20 days of heat waves are there compared to the earlier 4 to 8 days of heat waves that were prevalent. Odisha and Bengal were the states which are having the cases of heat waves, prolonged heat waves in recent years, particularly in year 2024, where almost 18 or 15 days they have battled with the cases of heat waves. Now let's try to understand what are the impacts of heat waves. First, the impact on the individual's health. It leads to dehydration, diseases related to the kidney. Apart from this, this also impacts our mental health in the form of anxiety, depression, etc. Then it can also lead to respiratory diseases like asthma, issues related to breathing, etc. Then heart cramps and heart strokes are also some of the impacts that can happen in the extreme form due to the impact of heat waves. Apart from this, this also impacts the agriculture by reducing the productivity of the crops. Then due to impact of heat waves, there are cases where lot of irrigation is required for the crops. That increases the cost of the farmers for that particular crops. Then there is cases of pest infestation that is happening to the crops due to impact of heat waves. Apart from this, this also reduces the time that particular farmer would be getting to give to his farms, and so ultimately it reduces the productivity of our crops. Then it also impacts the other manufacturing sectors and daily wage workers, because they will be getting very low time or very less time in which they can work properly. Then there is also increased in the peak power demand, especially in these heat wave months starting from April to June, which also leads to increased carbon emissions, demand for more electricity, which are majorly generated by the non-renewable sources. So what should be done? What we should be doing in these cases of heat waves? First, at individual levels or personal level, we should keep our rooms cool. We should try to remain hydrated. We should cool down with the showers. We should take bath regularly. We should find cool shelters whenever we can find that. We should try to wear loose clothes, and as I already told, that drink lot of water, keep yourself hydrated. You can also switch to the ORS solutions and other to ensure that you are properly hydrated. Then at the government level, there is need for proper heat action plans to manage the adverse effect of these heat wave conditions. First, under these heat action plans, the urban local bodies or the governments will be providing proper cold drinking water facilities at the public places. Then they will also be distributing the ORS solutions and other limited medications that may be useful for the people who might get affected by the heat waves. Then next is that there is need for regulating the activities in unorganized sector, especially the sectors like constructions where daily wage workers are there, who might be working despite ignoring the conditions of heat waves, so that they do not lose the financial incentives that they will be getting while working on these construction sites. So government may provide some incentives to these daily wage workers from time to time, so that they do not get prone to these heat wave conditions. Then the work and school hours may need adjustment, and that can be adjusted according to the heat action plans. You would be knowing that the district magistrates or the DMs also comes with the various guidelines and notifications where they recommend the changes in the timings of the schools and the working hours during the conditions of these heat waves. So our next topic is contempt of court. The context of this particular topic is that Supreme Court has reserved its judgment in recent Patanjali case of contempt. This particular topic pertains to syllabus of your UPSC prelims, Indian polity, and syllabus of your GS2, structure, organization and functioning of executive and judiciary. So let's first try to understand the basics. This power of contempt of court is being given in Article 129, where it says that Supreme Court shall be the court of record, and it has all the powers of such courts, including the powers to punish for contempt of itself. So Supreme Court is court of record, and it has the power to punish for contempt of itself when a particular person is contempting the court. Now the one of the key word, that is court of record. What does it mean? I will be explaining you here. It means all the judgments that are being given by the Supreme Court that will act as a evidence, and that may be useful for the future references. Similarly, the high courts have also been provided this contempt of court power that they are deriving from the Article 215, where they are conferring this power of contempt of court to the high courts. Then, did the Constitution explain all the things related to this contempt of court? Answer is no. There was a law named Contempt of Court Act 1971, which was passed by the Parliament after the recommendation of the H.N. Sanyal Committee, where it has been defined that contempt of court can be of two types. One is civil contempt and second is the criminal contempt. Under this civil contempt, we say or we consider as those type of contempt where there is willful disobedience to any judgment or order of the court. Apart from this, if there is a willful breach of any undertaking that has been given to the courts, that will be considered as the civil contempt. Then there is criminal contempt, where there is a publication of any matter or any doing that is being done by any people which is scandalizing or lowering the authority of any court, or which is prejudicing due course of any judicial proceedings that is going on in any of the particular courts. Then any of the publication that is obstructing the administration of justice, that is obstructing the full functioning of the courts, those will be considered under the criminal contempt. So what is the punishment for this contempt of court? These contempt can be punished with simple imprisonment for a term which may extend to 6 months, or with a fine which may extend to 2000 rupees, or both. Then we should also look that what will not be considered as the contempt of court. The fair and accurate reporting of the judicial proceedings and any fair criticism on the merits of the judicial order. You might be getting the editorials regarding the orders of the judiciary. That is not considered under the contempt of court. Any fair and accurate reporting that is being done by these newspapers that you people are reading, either it is the Hindu, Indian Express, or any of the local newspapers, that is not considered under the contempt of court. If any of the person is writing an editorial giving a constructive criticism to any of the judicial orders, that will not be considered under the contempt of court. Now we will be looking to one of the prelims question that has appeared from this particular topic in year 2020. It says, consider the following statement: pursuant to the report of H.N. Sanyal Committee, the Contempt of Court Act 1971 was passed. This information I have told you just. So this is a correct statement. Then the Constitution of India empowers the Supreme Court and the High Court to punish for contempt of themselves. This already I have explained you under the article 129 and 215. These powers has been provided by the Constitution of India. Then Constitution of India defines civil contempt and criminal contempt. This particular statement is incorrect. This has been defined under the Contempt of Court Act 1971. Then the fourth statement, in India, the Parliament is vested with the powers to make laws on the contempt of court. This was a correct statement. So B option 1, 2, 4 was correct here, and this was the question from this particular topic. Now moving towards another important topic of your space technology, that is NISAR, NASA, ISRO, synthetic aperture radar. The context of this particular topic is that recently a write-up has appeared about the various benefits that NISAR will be serving, and this has been told by ISRO chairman S. Somnath in one of the interview that has been conducted in the Hindu newspaper. Then this particular topic pertains to syllabus of your UPSC prelims science and technology and syllabus of your GS3 achievements of Indian in science and technology. So first let's understand the basics of this NISAR. This is a low earth orbit observatory which will be observing the phenomena that will be undertaken on the earth surface. It will be observing the earth dynamics, various natural and man-made phenomena that can be also in form of various disasters, etc. So mainly it is a earth observation satellite. Then it consists of both L-band and S-band synthetic aperture radar instruments, which will help in getting a proper images, which will help in proper image formations of the earth surfaces. This is the first satellite mission which is using two different radar frequency. One is L-band and second is the S-band synthetic aperture radar frequencies. Here you can say in this particular diagram, this is the diagram of NISAR observatory. Why I have kept this particular diagram? In year 2022, the UPSC have asked one question in mains about the James Webb telescope. They have asked the functioning and the application. So if that particular year the persons have made the diagram of that particular James Webb telescope, so that might have fetched some extra marks. So in this particular NISAR observatory there is feed RF aperture which is in LS-N band, then there are S-band radar frequencies electronics, then this is a radar instrument structure, then there is L-band SR electronics, the spacecraft bus is there, then there is deployed solar array, then there is deployed radar antenna boom, this is GPS antenna, and this is deployed radar antenna reflector. We don't have to read into much details of the various components of these NISAR satellites. I have just taken these for the reference. Now under this NISAR, this is one of the strong collaboration between US and India. Here ISRO is providing the S-band radar frequency and GSLV for the as a launch vehicle. Apart from this, NASA is providing the L-band radar frequency, GPS or the global positioning systems, a high capacity solid state recorder which will be recording the images that will be taken from these NISAR satellite, then the payload data subsystem to store the data so that can be transferred properly to the stations that are located on the earth surfaces. Then what are the objectives of this NISAR? First is that once it will be launched, it will observe the subtle changes that will be happening under the earth's surfaces, helping researchers better understand the cause and consequences of such phenomena. For example, the Indian plate is getting subducted. So NISAR will help in understanding that how this Indian plate is subducting and what are some of the possible reasons for these particular subduction. Then it will also spot the warning signs of natural disasters such as volcanic eruptions, earthquake and landslides. There are lot of landslides that happen in the Himalayan regions. Apart from this, disasters like flash floods are there. Then dam failures are there. So these observation from NISAR may help in mitigating these kind of disasters. Then this satellite will also measure the groundwater levels. Then it will track flow of glaciers and the ice sheets, and it will also monitor the planet's forest and agricultural region, which can improve our understanding about the carbon exchange. So it will help in understanding the earth dynamics. It will also help in mitigating and adapting the natural disasters, the observation about the forest and agriculture. For example, recently forest fire incidents has happened in the forest of the Nainitals. So NISAR may help in providing an accurate picture that what should be the mitigation measures, what should be the adaptation measures, so that such kind of incidents can be addressed, can be avoided in future. By using synthetic aperture radar, NISAR will produce high resolution images, as I have already told you, and that will help us in understanding our earth and forest regions in a better way. Apart from this, SAR is capable of penetrating clouds and can collect data day and night regardless of the weather conditions, whether the particular weather and climate is cloudy or it is day or night. These high resolution images that these NISAR will be taking, that will be providing day and night irrespective of the time. So that is one of the major benefits of these NISAR satellites. Now we will be moving towards some prelims snippets. First topic is UNDSS, which stands for United Nations Department for Safety and Security, which is a department with the UN that is responsible for providing safety and security to the agencies of the UN, to the various departments of the UN. What is the main mission of this UNDSS? It is to ensure a safe environment that is being provided to the UN staff and the dependents of those staff and UN premises which is being located around the world, that is also safe and secure under this UNDSS. So this is one of the main objective of these UNDSS people. Then whom they protect? They provide a security for around 1,80,000 UN personals and almost 4 lakh dependents, people who are dependent on these UN personnel, and almost 4,500 UN premises around the world. So this UNDSS provide a comprehensive, safe and secure environment to these UN premises and the staff and the dependents on those staffs. Then where are they operating? They have a global presence almost in most of the countries, with the security advisors, analysts, officers and the coordinators being present in more than 125 countries. What are the major functions of this UNDSS? First is security risk management of UN agencies, its staffs and dependents. Apart from this, providing security expertise to all the UN agencies. Then to ensure that there is proper security related policies are being framed by the UN agencies is also one of the agenda or the function of the UNDSS. Then another function is to deploy the security functions wherever there is a possible threat to the UN agencies or the UN institutions in the world. These are some functions of the UNDSS. Next topic is I4C or Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center, which is a initiative or body under the Ministry of Home Affairs to combat the cyber crime in our country. And the main aim of this I4C is to coordinate and combat the cyber related incidents in a coordinated manner. The center of this particular I4C is located in New Delhi. What are the major functions of this I4C? First is to prevent misuse of cyberspace for furthering the cause of extremist and terrorist group. All the anti-social elements like various terrorists, various cyber security threats that are originating from the foreign countries. to prevent the misuse for the cyberspace is one of the main functions of the I4C. Then to suggest the amendment in the cyber laws that are there in present to keep pace with the fast changing technologies and international cooperation among the various stakeholders related to the cyber security related laws is the second function of this I4C. Then to coordinate all activities related to the implementation of mutual legal assistance treaties with other countries related to the cyber crimes is also the third function of this I4C. Under this MLAT or the mutual legal assistance treaties, there is a treaty between two or more countries where there has been a comprehensive arrangement where in case of cyber attack on any of the either countries, the other country will be helping the country who is the victim of that cyber attack in a proper and coordinated manner, so that that cyber security related incident can be tackled effectively by that victim country. So our next topic is hepatitis A, which is an important topic for your prelims under the subject science and technology. It is a highly contagious viral liver infection which majorly affect our liver. It is preventable by the vaccine and is caused by the ingestion of fecal matter, majorly the contaminated food and water that we have that have contain residues of the fecal matter that majorly cause the hepatitis A, and yes, it is preventable by the vaccine. After the onset of hepatitis A, the symptoms might last for weeks up to months. And what are the major symptoms? Jaundice, nausea, abdominal pain are some of the major symptoms of this hepatitis A. And how does it spread? It majorly spread through direct contact, and it is also spread through the infected food with the fecal matter that we have outside at the roadside, etc. So from where there also we get the hepatitis A. Then the sewage contamination is also one of the reasons for the spreading of these hepatitis A. Then our next topic is Wholesale Price Index or WPI, which is released by Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and which is defined as the price of goods at wholesale stage, that is goods that are sold in bulk and traded between organization instead of consumers or the ultimate retailers. For example, this is a farm which is producing apples. Now, when they are selling these apples in bulk to this wholesale depot, here the prices that will be determined will be called as the WPI or the Wholesale Price Index. But when this wholesale depot will be selling these particular apples to different retailers, that can be Big Basket, Swiggy, Instamart, or the ultimate cartwala persons that is located in our streets. Now these particular people, at which price they will be selling to the ultimate consumers or to us, that will be called as the CPI or the Consumer Price Index. Under this Wholesale Price Index, the base year is 2011-12, and it consists majorly of the manufactured products which have a weight of almost 64.23%. Apart from this, the articles related to the food and fuel have lower weightage under this Wholesale Price Index or the WPI. Then this was a question that has been asked previously in UPSC prelims. Let's see this particular question, which says that consider the following statement: the weightage of food in Consumer Price Index is higher than that in Wholesale Price Index. This is a correct statement. Then WPI doesn't capture the changes in the price of services which CPI does. This is also a correct statement. The Reserve Bank of India has now adopted WPI as its key measure for inflation to decide on the changing key policy rate. This particular statement is incorrect. Earlier, Reserve Bank of India was having this WPI as a key measure for inflation targeting, but now they have changed or came to the CPI or the Consumer Price Index for a framework to target the inflation. So RBI has now shifted to the CPI. So option A was correct here, 1 and 2 only, and option 3rd was correct. So answer was A here. So this was all from my side for today's Analyst. Thank you very much for joining this session. All the very best.